Hey guys, alright, let's finish up Lucio Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy with 1981's The House by the Cemetery. I don't know why this is in the Gates of Hell trilogy, because I was saying this during my video for City of the Living Dead. I was trying to remember, because I haven't seen this movie in a while, like a few years. And I was trying to remember if there's a Gate of Hell in this movie, which there is not. So I don't know why it's involved in this trilogy, but we'll go with it. I don't have as much to say about this movie. Like, I do enjoy it, like, highly, but there are some things that bring it down for me. And I don't know. I just feel like like a lot of Fulci's films, like the plot is very thin, and there's not as much great gore effects and everything in this movie to talk about. But we'll dive into it. So we get the whole opening shot with the house, which is a creepy looking house. Love how this house looks in this movie. And we have that's the same girl from City of the Living Dead, right? Who's puking up her guts and everything at the very beginning. It shows off her nice tits and everything. So nice tits, and she's into puking and shit. So that's got to be for somebody out there. And then she gets the knife through her head and stuff, right through the back of her head, and it comes out her mouth. Looks awesome. I love that kill. Nice opening, very good. And then she gets dragged into the basement and the blood trail and stuff it leads. Awesome opening scene. And then we have the opening score and stuff with the shot outside from the house and stuff. Awesome score. This movie has a very good score. Nowhere near City of the Living Dead or The Beyond or Enigma or Zombie or even New York Ripper I like better. And probably a few others, but it's definitely a good score. It fits. It has like that pipe organ gothic sound to it, which I feel like they could have played more into, like with the soundtrack and everything in the score to this movie. Like, we get a few scenes with that like gothic pipe organ, but not nearly enough, because this is like Fulci's Frankenstein. Like, he could have just called it Lucio Fulci's Frankenstein or Fruitstein. Like with Mary, the wife of Fruitstein, who has the grave and stuff that the kids are looking at, and you know it's a nod to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. You know, having her name is Mary and everything, but this is like a Frankenstein tale. And then we get the zoom in shot of the painting with May in the window. Really cool stuff. Like, she's creepy in this movie. Like, May, the girl who played that character, played it very well. Like, she played a creepy girl very well for this movie. And I know she spoke Italian, and so did my favorite character I'm about to talk about. Both spoke Italian, these kids. So they had to like dub their voices afterwards, and that's why their mouths move differently, which is usually annoying in some movies. Like, I always like watching any type of foreign film in their native language, but since I think it was just the two of them that spoke Italian and they had to overdub their voices, it's not too much of a bother. But May does a really good job of being just a creepy but adorable kid at the same time. Like, she really plays that off well. Then Bob. Man, good old little Bob. Is it just me, or does... like, I would never condone hitting a kid. I would never condone hitting a kid. But something about his face makes me just want to punch his face. Like, something about him, man. Just something about this kid's face and his voice and everything about him. It's hard, man. It's so hard to look at this kid. And he's in Manhattan Baby, too. And then you get a double dose of Bob if you watch that. But just want to, like the kid from The Shining, the kid who plays Danny Torrance in Stephen King's miniseries, The Shining. Him, too. Those are like the two kids that I can think of that just have punchable faces, man. Like... like, you just want to like fix their face somehow, but like you can't, so you got to deal with it and watching them. But I just want to punch him in the face, like in this fictional world, in this movie, might happen. Then Bob's pretending to drive the car while the Boyles go in to get the keys for the house and everything. And anybody else wish that like the car started and and it crashed, but like not in a bad way, you sick fucks. Like, just like in a small roll into a telephone pole, just enough for Bob's like face to hit the steering wheel and maybe like reconstructive, like, just me. All right. Good old Bob, man. And apparently he'd rather sleep in a tent than in a nice ass house. because the father's asking him, "Oh, we could have stayed in some other house, but we're staying in this beautiful house. Otherwise, you'd be sleeping in a tent." And he's like, "I wish, like, or you can sleep in the tent." All right, and he likes sleeping in tents apparently. The whole scene with May looking in the window at the mannequin and then sees its head fall off and roll away, and like the stump and stuff of the neck and everything. Really cool foreshadowing of Anne's death later on in the movie. Really cool scene. And that's a creepy fucking doll, man, that May has that she gives to Bob. Like, Fulci has a way of just making anything look creepy. Whether it's a kid or a doll or anything. Like, he just does it so good with that. And that is a creepy fucking doll. Like, they should have replaced Annabelle in those movies with this doll. It would have made it much better, in my opinion. And Anne is fucking gorgeous, man. The actress who plays her, such a sexy woman. I don't get, though, like, this, I mean, like, there's so much I don't get in this movie. Just like any Fulci film. But I don't get why they play her off so creepy and everything. Like she's a ghost or like there's something like wrong with her. But then she just gets killed later. So she's just a normal girl, I guess. Like there's nothing weird about her. She's not a ghost. Like I don't get all of that. Like why he plays her off as like this like evil or like menacing woman, but she's just some fucking babysitter and she ends up getting killed later. So I don't know why they made so much, like paid so much attention to trying to make her like feel like a ghost or like an evil entity or something like that. I don't know, I don't get it. Maybe it's just to like throw you off and make you think something's up with her until they reveal Freudstein and stuff in the end. Maybe, but I don't know. But she is fucking gorgeous, so we have that plus side. That's the same library from The Beyond, right? That I don't even remember the parents' names. Was it Norman? Mr. Boyle, we'll go with that. That when he goes into the library and stuff and he's looking up information on Dr. Peterson, the guy who he's researching and stuff, that's the same library that the guy got eaten by the spiders in The Beyond, right? Like it looks exactly like that library. So I'm pretty sure that's the same exact one because it looks identical to it. And then the scene with Bob and May at Mary Freudstein's grave, like I mentioned earlier, it's a creepy scene. Like with May's dialogue and everything. Like I can't say enough how good she does in this role, just being a creepy ghost girl. And when she's saying like she's not buried there, and like I know she's not buried there, like really cool dialogue between them. And like the little friendship that the two of them like form and everything. Like, and he's the only one who could see her, and like nobody else can. And just her warnings throughout the movie and everything of don't go inside and don't go in the basement and everything. Really well done. Let's see where we're at here. Freudstein's tomb inside the house. It's cool. It's creepy as shit, but there's no way that that wife would be okay with staying in that house. And they just completely just gloss over that, like with his bullshit excuse that that the husband says that, oh, this is Massachusetts. I think it's in Massachusetts. No, it's in Maryland. One of the M states, it doesn't matter for this movie, but says that like all the houses have tombs in the houses that people are buried in. Like I'd love to see the facts on that because I really don't think he's correct on that. But then that's it. Like it's fine after that. She's just completely okay with a tomb being in the center of the house that she's staying in. I don't know. Like I guess she's fine with it after that. Then we get the whole bat scene, which is probably the most famous scene from this movie that people will instantly bring up when this movie comes up. And it's a great scene. Like, it's really cool. They go in the basement, and then the bat's flapping on her hair and everything, and then bites his hand, and then they run up, and Bob says, like, "Are you alright, Dad?" And, like, what's going on? And he passes him with a bat on his hand, biting him. Like, he doesn't see what's going on. He doesn't see that the bat is biting his father's hand. And you can see, like, one or two of the shots, you can see, like, the wires for the bat. Like, it's kind of obvious when you, like, really look. Like, you can see the wires attached to the bat. But it still looks good and everything. And then he stabs it and blood starts coming out and everything. Really, really cool. Anyone else wish that... that the bat flew onto Bob's face, like, not bite him or hurt him or anything, you sick bastards, but, like, just like landed on his face, flapped his wings 3 times, and like, like Wizard of Oz style, and just like gave him a better face, less punchable. Just me. Oh, okay. Then Miss Griddleson, the real estate person, or the woman who gets them the house and everything, when she comes in and she gets her ankle stuck in the tomb, that whole scene is awesome. Like she gets her foot stuck in the tomb after it breaks, and then Freudstein comes out, and we don't see him yet. But she gets stabbed with the fireplace poker like twice in her chest, and the blood's coming out, and then especially when he stabs her in the neck, and then like just punctures her neck, and then the blood starts spurting out of it. Like it looks so good. Like I said, there's some great gore in this movie, just nowhere near like other Fulci films for me, and they're a lot more few and far between, like the gore in this movie, but not a big complaint. And then she gets dragged away and everything, and she looks awesome. Like all the effects on her in that kill scene look really, really good. Then Lucy doesn't, that's her name, the mother. Lucy doesn't see when Anne's cleaning up the blood trail on the way to the closet. She doesn't see the blood. Like, cause when you see her, when you see Anne cleaning the blood and stuff, like she just like wipes it once and then like starts putting the rag back in the water and everything. So there's still a lot of blood there on the floor. And Lucy comes in and she's like, "Hey Anne, what are you doing?" And she's like, "I made coffee." And then she's, "All right." And she just makes a cup of coffee. Doesn't say a thing about the blood. So I don't know. She didn't see it. Like, I find that very hard to believe. But apparently she didn't see that huge pool of blood on the floor. And then like the close-up shots of Anne's eyes and everything. Like I said in the last video, the way that Fulci just has those shots that just zoom in on the character's eyes and everything. And it is fucking hot in this room, man. If you see me sweating, I got like 3 lights going on here, and it's hot in this room, like in general. So I'm dying in here. I'm like trying to race through this shit as fast as possible just to get an AC. But yeah, like the shots up close of Anne's eyes and everything. She got gorgeous eyes too, man. But like, I just love those shots that Fulci does. Just like always, like during conversations, just zooming in on the character's eyes. And again, like it's trying to like show that Anne is like off, like she's creepy, but like again, she's just a babysitter. Like I don't get that whole thing. Like it's just, unless it's like I said, like they're just trying to make it like something's off with her until we get the reveal later. But we already know somebody like killed the real estate lady, and like it was like a weird hand and stuff, so we know it's not Anne. So none of that makes sense to me. So somebody explain it, if there's a reason that they made her like creepy as shit and act all weird in this movie. But I think it was just for the feel of the movie, which this movie does have good atmosphere. Like it does have a good feel to it, just like I said, just nowhere near other Fulci films for me. Like I said, I highly enjoy this movie, but there's, I guess, a reason that I haven't seen this in years, because it's just not up there for me with his other movies and films and stuff. And then we get the shot of the blood pouring out of Freudstein's tomb, and all the body parts and everything that are in the basement and stuff. That looks awesome. Like you see like an arm on the table and like just body parts hanging everywhere. That's a cool shot. There's some cool shots in that scene. While the tape from Dr. Peterson's playing, like while they're panning around the basement, showing all the carnage down there. That's a really cool scene. The whole scene with Anne in the basement, and Freudstein coming up and grabbing her and slitting her throat and everything like 3 times. Like first he goes this way, then he cuts this way, and then the final way. That's the best gore in this movie, like by far. Like really, really good. And then he just basically decapitates her. Like awesome stuff. The effects are really good in that. And then Bob goes into the basement, and Anne's head goes rolling down the stairs and then just lands and is like looking at him, and Bob starts freaking out. Anyone else wish that anyone else wish that the head like kind of bounced up and hit Bob in the face, like not hard or anything, you psycho freaks, but like just like a tap, like just something to like, just change. Just me? Okay. Fucking Bob, man, I can't with him. And see? Flashlights. They're using flashlights. If you don't get that reference, watch my other Fulci videos. But they have fucking flashlights. same year, 81. And then we get the shots of the eyes and the darkness and everything, which is so Suspiria. Like, I can't see those scenes without thinking of Suspiria, like, instantly. And then Bob looking in the basement and everything, that's a tense scene. Like, with him looking around and, like, calling out for Anne and everything. Then he goes up the stairs and he's banging on the door, and his mom is trying to open the door and she can't, and he's screaming. Like, this kid is terrified. Like, I wonder what they did, like, to this kid, like, to get him, like, that scared on the set. Like, knowing Fulci, he probably did something to terrorize this kid, because he is so afraid. Then we have the dad comes home and takes the axe and starts banging against the door, but, like, Freudstein's holding Bob's head against the door. Does anybody else wish? No, I'm just kidding. That's too dark. That's fucked up. But, like, that's a tense scene, man. Like, he did a very good job with that. Like, just having the axe come through the door right near his face. Then he gets taken down into the basement, and we see all the bodies and stuff, and Anne's head just still laying there, and it's just awesome set. Like, the way they did all the set dressing for that scene. It looks really cool. Then the whole look of Freudstein and everything, he looks really good. Like, he's just like the way that they did up his face and everything like that, and like his weird fucked up hands. Really cool stuff. And then, like, as the father's coming down, he says that he needs human victims to regenerate his cells so he can stay alive. Sounds good. Sounds right to me. Sounds perfect. Makes total sense. And no complaints with that. Then we have Freudstein going after Bob, and he puts his hand on his face. Does anybody else wish that that he just, not a lot, you fucking freaks, but, like, pushed a little bit on him, like, just to, like, squishing out that face just a little? It's still just me, huh? Alright, I guess I have an issue with this kid way too much. And then stabbing Freudstein, and the maggots and shit come out of him, looks really cool. Like, and he has just, like, sludge and maggots falling out of his side from the stab wound and everything. Really cool stuff. Then Norman, when he gets, that's the father's name, Norman, when he gets his, did I say Norman earlier? I think I did. So I was right. Unless I rewatch this and then I say, wait, I didn't fucking say Norman. What the hell am I talking about? But Norman, when he gets his throat ripped out, awesome. Looks so good. Just in classic Fulci fashion, when you get the neck just ripped out and then the blood starts squirting out and everything. Looks really, really awesome. That and Anne's death scene are my two favorite gore gags in this movie, by far. Then Lucy being dragged down the steps, and her head hits every single step as she's going dragging down the stairs. It's supposed to be scary, but I laugh hysterically every time I see that scene. Like, it reminds me of, like, the whole saying of, like falling down the ugly tree and hitting every branch on the way down. Like, they should have had Bob drag that. I can't with him anymore. Enough with Bob. I've given him enough child abuse in this video. And then May saves the day, man, and takes Bob out of the crack in the tomb and everything. And then we have Mary, who we know is Freudstein's wife, is a ghost, and so is May. Like, that's what I take from it. Like, they're both ghosts, right? Because we know Mary's dead. And then May is only visible and by Bob. He's the only one who could see or hear her. So they're ghosts, right? Because then this last quote at the end makes no sense to me. But then they have the shot of Mary and May and Bob walking down the street from afar and stuff. That's a really cool ending shot. But then we have the whole saying at the end here that no one will ever know whether children are monsters or the monsters are children. Again, like with the last two movies, the endings. I don't know what the hell that means. Like, what children are, like, Bob isn't a monster, besides how he looks and talks, but May isn't a monster, she's a ghost, but she's like a helpful ghost, she's like Casper. And Mary, the wife of Freudstein, she's not malevolent or anything like that. So what the hell does that quote even mean? Like, Freudstein is the monster, and he's not a child. So what the fuck does that mean? Like, could someone tell me what that means? That the children are monsters are children? Like, I could see if there was like a monstrous child in this movie or something, then it would make a little bit of sense. But none of that. Like, we just get Freudstein. He's the monster in this movie. So that whole end quote makes no sense to me. Like every other Fulci ending, But yeah, not as much to say in this movie because, like I said, I do enjoy it like once in a while, but it's not like a Fulci film that I'll just like think I want to watch some Fulci and throw in House by the Cemetery. Like, just not that type of film for me. But it is highly enjoyable. I do enjoy it. If it wasn't for Bob, which I give this kid too much shit in this movie. Just this final disclaimer, no children were harmed in the making of this review. I feel like I have to say that just for the few people out there who will give me shit and say, oh, you want to hurt a child. Like, no, I don't. Just this child. Because he has a fucking punchable face, man. But that's the trilogy, Gates of Hell, and I don't know, I'm in a Fulci mood now. So we got Found Footage Friday tomorrow night, and I got 3 movies that are part of a classic franchise that I can just see the downvotes coming now and everything because I do not like the first movie in this franchise, which is like blasphemous to people. But that's tomorrow night. Until then, I'm in a Fulci mood, so I might watch New York Ripper or Enigma, one of those, and maybe try to have a video up on that either later tonight or by the morning or something. But alright guys, have a good night or morning wherever you're from, and I will see you soon.